Hey, what's up you guys, it's Dorothy. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to go into part 3 of the story of Deborah from the Women of the Bible Speak by Shannon Bream. So let's get right into this video. This video is going to contain me discussing things about the Bible and talking about the Bible. If you do not wish to hear anything about the Bible or see this video, I suggest you click off the video now. You have been warned. Notice what an extraordinary thing Deborah says here. At the beginning of the song, she speaks to the surrounding kings and peoples, she also seems to personify the stars as the source of the floodwaters that bogged down those fancy chariots. Some scholars believe the reference is a swipe at the Canaanites' belief in astrology, with Deborah saying, "So much for the stars backing you up." To her, Israel was never some forgotten corner of the universe, filled with insignificant hill farmers. She knew that in God's eyes, his people and their survival were a priority. Too often we hesitate, like those tribes of Dan and Asher and Reuben, refusing to believe God's miraculous promises. In fear rather than confidence, we refuse to take the risk of trusting God, to take him at his unfailing word. What if we could summon the courage of Deborah, whose heart was obviously so closely aligned with God's that she didn't doubt his direction in a situation that by human standards appeared to be the death sentence? The Song of Deborah closes with a powerful image. It ends with the picture of Sirsa's mother anxiously waiting for her son to arrive home. Out of the window she peered. The mother of Sirsa gazed through the lattice. Why is his chariot so long in coming? Why tarry the hoofbeats of his chariot? Her wisest ladies make no answer. Nay, she gives answer to herself. Are they not finding and dividing the spoil? A maiden or two for every man, spoil of dyed stuffs for Sirsa. Judges 5:28-30. That is some hard reading. It's difficult to internalize the image of a woman sitting waiting for her son to come home for more, especially when we as a reader know how Sirsa's story ends. But we have to look at the reality of what's going on here. The language Deborah uses suggests that Sirsa's mother has implying that her son was out simply not having a good time, but more specifically sexually assaulting young women. The passage implies that the values of women, mother or not, were ultimately pagan. We see motherhood woven throughout the Song of Deborah, first in Deborah describing herself as a mother who arose in Israel when it seemed everyone else had given up, Judges 5:7. Most of the images of motherhood in the Bible are ones of nurturing, of tenderness and protectiveness and caring. The people of Israel in the Bible are nomadic and agricultural, simple people living close to the land. Their ideas of women and men's roles are equally simple. Men fought the wars and women took care of the children. But in Deborah's story, we see that motherhood can also be something fierce and warlike. Deborah was chosen and equipped by God, full of discernment and bravery at the time when the people of Israel needed rescuing, both spiritually and physically. But by revisiting motherhood in her song, this time via the story of a mother who would soon be grieving, Deborah makes another important point. She offers a very human illustration of the realities of war, and I think we can infer she was sending a message. So many of all your enemies perish, Lord, but may all who love you be like the sun when it rises in its strength, Judges 5:31. As Deborah and Barak led the Israelites in celebrating a miraculous conquest, they also put the rest of their enemies on notice. Hey, see what happens when the people of Israel, backed by their unbeatable God, show up for battle. Deborah's joyous celebration ends with the final line, "Then the land had peace 40 years, Judges 5:31. What an about face from the moments when her story started. When we first meet her, Israel is in big trouble. True, it earned it. The people had done evil in the eyes of the Lord, Judges 4:1. They were being terrorized by their enemies, cruelly opposed for 20 years, and they begged the Lord for help. He sent them Deborah, who led them to peace. I find so much encouragement and direction in her story. It's no fluke that God chose and prepared this woman. He gave her gifts of discernment and understanding that caused her to be revered and trusted by her people. They came to her with their disputes. How many times have you been caught in the place, bickering children, disgruntled coworkers, gossiping friends? We don't have to be leading a nation to face some of the responsibilities Deborah faced, but there's something we can do. We can take a breath, listen to a frustrated friend, seek God's truth, and try to lovingly bring peace to all the frustrations we encounter in our daily lives. Deborah spoke truth with confidence. She didn't try to minimize the reality of the situation, but she did choose to believe in God's faithfulness. How many of us hesitate to speak up when God has asked us to, directed us to? Do we worry about how the words will be received, that people will think we've overstepped boundaries or lost touch with reality. Deborah didn't. She had a message directly from God, and she simply delivered it. It wasn't up to her, and it's not up to us to water down God's perfect plans. We are simply called to follow his lead and leave the rest up to him. Where can you and I be more like Deborah in our own lives, stepping out in faith and trusting God for the victory? Deborah wasn't tasked with poring over battle plans with Barak and figuring out every detail before showing up how, when, and where God told her to. Most of the time, we won't get a perfect roadmap for our spiritual journeys either, but as one of my favorite verses promises, God is able to do immeasurably more than all we ask or imagine, according to his power that is at work within us. Ephesians 3:20. Now, about Circe. That is the end of this story. I will see you guys in the next video for the beginning of the story of JL. Bye!